Today's one of those days where I'm going to talk about something that's affecting me directly here in this neighborhood that I live in. And on a side note, I'm keeping my glasses on today because it's a totally separate note because my son, if you can tell, he gave me a black eye. You can see it there. Anyways, I was laying down on the couch the other day in the basement and he said, "Hey, Dad, here's my head." And just like hit me in the nose and right on the orbital bone, whatever you want to call it. Anyways, enough of my catastrophe out of the way. I made a video about, was it 7 months ago? September 1st, about a tornado that hit here in this neighborhood September 1st. And it's all over the news here, and all through the neighborhoods you can see what's being talked about is the insurance companies that are not giving people money to repair their properties. People that are in well standing with their insurance, that are paying for good quality, high premium insurance policies, and they can't get simple things like a new roof put on their house because it was damaged by the tornado, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. I'll leave a link to an article in the description here about where was it? Dublin, upper Dublin. There's a satellite campus of Temple there. Anyways, it's about a very affluent township here in Pennsylvania, in Montgomery County, right outside of Philadelphia. It's bordering Philadelphia, and it's how this affluent neighborhood, and not that it should be any different whether you're poor or rich. If you're paying for insurance and you get a homeowner's insurance policy and you get hit by a tornado, you should get paid out. But it was an example here of how a very affluent neighborhood, how they are still stuck looking like they got hit by a tornado, for lack of, I was trying to think of something witty, but there's nothing witty to say. They look like they still got hit by a tornado over there. And the tornado hit this area on September 1st. So everyone's saying how, like, the legislature should get involved in forcing these insurance companies to give payments. But here's the thing is, I want to give you what my experience was. Now, we have travelers insurance here. And funnily enough, I was a member of Nationwide insurance before this, or not Nationwide, Allstate. And when I moved from New Jersey to Pennsylvania, I saw like a commercial, might even have been something on YouTube or saying like, go to something.com, check your rates against ours. And I did like the rate check thing, and I was like, oh, their rate wasn't the best. It happened to be Travelers insurance. So I went with Travelers because they showed up as the cheaper on this rate tool that this website or this commercial or something that pointed me to. So I switched from Allstate to Travelers, and funnily enough, well, without naming names, but there's certain companies, let's say Bationwide and Ballstate, let's just say two fictitious companies by those names, insure a lot of my neighbors around here, and they are given the biggest hassle to get repairs done to things like their roofs, getting rain gutters put back up. And it's been since September 1st. Anyways, my insurance company, Travelers, contacted them right away. Claim adjuster came out, said, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Boom, 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 boom. You need a new fence. These trees fell down on your property. These trees fell on your fence. These trees fell on your wires. This tree hit your house. Okay, everything was covered. We paid nothing out of pocket. In fact, we had a little bit left over, which is actually going to invest back in the yard because we want to buy new trees and shrubs and stuff that got destroyed. So actually, we technically should be getting something because we didn't elect to have our trees knocked down, of which there were 12 of. Anyway, so we're down to 2 trees when we used to have 14 left in our yard. We used to have 14 in our yard. So anything that was damaged, my kid had a sandbox that a tree fell on, that was covered. We had a little fire pit that a tree fell on, that was covered. And the point being here is our company gave us No hassle whatsoever. This is the valued costs of everything. This is the cost with your tree removal. We're talking with the guy, the foreman of the company that's removing your trees and fixing your yard and whatnot. And here's a check. And it was all done within a month. Within a month. Let me show you. Let me show you actually some of my neighbors. Show you. Okay? Let me zoom in here. This is my one neighbor here. Notice how there's still like piles of stuff all over the yard where trees were. All those piles of dirt and stuff. And look at the rain gutters on their house. Oh, that's right. There is none. Okay? My next door neighbor here. Shutters missing on the house still. This construction that you're seeing. My finger can point to it in the back. This used to be a full screen and back porch. It just got started working on last week. Because there was a holdup with insurance. Not supplies, not getting a contractor out. There was an insurance holdup. And that first house I showed you there with the no rain gutters at, they haven't lived in their house since September 1st. They're still getting stuck in a condo with 3 people and 2 pets. Don't know when they're going to be back in their house. And it's all because of insurance holdups wanting to dish out payments and them saying no out of principle. And that's the thing is, a lot of people, you could say like, well, why don't they just get the work done themselves? Because they shouldn't have to. Because they shouldn't have to. They didn't ask for the tree to come and rip down their rain gutters off their house. Like, out of principle, so many of my neighbors are saying, we're not paying for jack squat until the insurance company covers what should be covered. Because a lot of our neighbors' insurance companies are covering. We had our rain gutter ripped off the front of our house. It was covered by our insurance company as it should have been. This guy back here, who may or may not have a company that rhymes with Ballstate. No, sorry. You're kind of beat. Another guy that lives down the street who may or may not have a company that has insured his house, but that rhymes with Bationwide. Sorry, he spent over $6,000 out of pocket. $6,000 out of pocket. One of my neighbors has spent already to cover damages that were covered by my insurance company. I mean, it's not like I live in a completely different universe here as opposed to a couple houses that way. And I even showed him, I was like, do you have like a really bad policy? And like, I even examined the terms and the wording of his policy, and they're near identical to what the words and terms as any, if you compared any of them, the terminology is going to be the same. The coverage is going to be the same. There might just be a difference in one deductible is more or one payout is a little less than others. But it's like one of the things that he had that is completely ridiculous. Well, I mean, you can argue semantics over this, is that the company that rhymes with the name Bationwide, or I may just be talking about some fictitious company. But anyway, a tree hit his house, hit his roof, did damage to the roof, did damage to the plywood underneath the shingles and whatnot. So they said, okay, we're going to pay to have just that little area repaired on your roof. So he has a roof that has 25 plus year old shingles, but you're going to make a little like 4 foot by 4 foot section replaced with shingles and just replace the plywood under that. Like that's all you're going to cover. It's like, no, roof repairing doesn't work like that. Like, what's the point of having just a section of little brand new shingles and the rest of the roof be 25 years old? Every other person that has a company that doesn't rhyme with Bationwide or Ballstate got the entire cost of their roofs repaired. But anyway, you can argue that, okay, maybe a company like Bationwide or Ballstate is just saying like, okay, yeah, well, it's not like you get a whole car replaced if you get a dent in one door, but that's a whole different thing. The door still looks like the rest of the car. When you replace one section of the roof, it doesn't look like the rest of the roof. Anyway, that may be semantics, but I digress. I mean, it's just crazy. And a fun fact is, we just got street lights put back up on our streets here last week. Like, what? Like, that couldn't, like, I could just imagine that must have been some holdup with the townships here or the cities here. And it's not just in my town, it's just around all the areas where the tornado hit. Like, the funding or whatever payment couldn't, like the telephone poles and the lights, they got to be covered by some sort of insurance from the towns, because I mean they got to pay the electric bill to turn the lights on, so there's got to be some sort of liability coverage if they get knocked over by tornadoes. I mean, granted, there was a lot of them knocked over. Is there a shortage of light bulbs or something? Like, what happened there? How did that stuff, like, how do towns not even have the ability to say, these streets are pitch black? Can we get some lights up? It's just nuts. It was bizarre to be caught up in a tornado as it was, but man, just seeing the fact that so many of my neighbors, just out of principle, they're refusing to have things, like they still have their roofs tarped up. Like, it's been snowing all winter. It's been torrential raining on them through the fall into now the spring. Wow. And again, like I said, in that article below, it's detailing what it's like in a very affluent township, a very high tax income bracket society town, and they can't even get it, because you figured maybe they're paying for better insurance premiums than someone like me or maybe someone else is, but it shows you that doesn't even matter. Wow, insurance is just I don't want to say it's a fraud, a scam, or whatever, but man, how can you have someone like me in the same neighborhood paying for an insurance that on paper looks identical to the guy down the street, yet he's paying thousands of dollars out of pocket and I'm getting money left over to put trees in my yard? Like, how can that be possible? Anyway, just wanted to just show you out there, just be careful. My only words of advice, talking to people around here, if you have an insurance company that rhymes with the name Ballstate or Bationwide, I would invest in Travelers. Because I did, and I didn't regret it, and my goodness, I almost ended up with one of those companies that may or may not be a real company name, fictitious for legal purposes. I don't want to drop their names here. But anyway, have you out there had trouble, like if you had property damage, like have you had trouble getting, because you would think that, because this was part of Hurricane Ida that came up the East Coast, so you figure there's got to be some sort of like kickback or something, like federal emergency money that would kick back to insurance companies, you would think. Like, I don't know that for sure, but you figure it would be a little bit easier for insurance companies to dish money out during a time of a natural disaster, because like it wasn't like this was just like a severe thunderstorm that spawned off a tornado. No, this was several tornadoes that went through Pennsylvania and parts of New Jersey as well. That was all stemming from Hurricane Ida. But anyways, good luck with your insurance out there, people. That is all.